The NBA draft lottery is here.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. Part of the Locked On podcast, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Hi, I'm Keith Pompey, flying solo today. My co-host, Kayla Santiago, will be back tomorrow. But we got a lot to talk about. The NBA draft lottery is finally here. And then we'll talk about that. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's been one of those things that I've been eagerly awaiting this day for like the past 2 months. The moment that the 76ers decided to tank, it's been a day that I've been really thinking about, talking about. Secondly, I want to talk about if the 76ers were healthy, do you think right now they would have had a chance in the playoffs? And thirdly, I want to break down these playoffs, man. These playoffs have been fun to watch. I mean, I've been watching all these games. Be honest with you, I love it. I love seeing upsets. Like, I like the fact that the Indiana Pacers are up 3-1 on the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? I like the fact that, you know, Denver and OKC are going back to back. I like the fact that the New York Knicks won the first 2 games in Boston, right? So there's a lot going on. But hey, first let's talk about tonight being a lottery. Now, here's the thing, y'all. When we talk about the lottery, and we all know the 76ers, let's be real. I guess everyone knows the deal when it comes down to the Sixers in the lottery, right? The 76ers first round pick this year is top 6 protected, which means is if it falls out of the top 6 in the lottery, it goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So what did the Sixers do? Now, for much of the season, the Sixers were trying to like turn things around. You know, at first they were trying to get like a top 6 pick. I mean, top 6 standing in the playoffs. Then when they realized that wasn't going to happen, they're trying to get into the play-in tournament and do what the Miami Heat did a couple years ago, play their way all the way up to the NBA Finals. They were hoping all that. They just need to get healthy. But when they realized that wasn't happening, the past 2 month and a half of the season, the Sixers said, you know what, we're going to tank. And they did a fairly great job of that. I mean, a fairly great job. I think, you know, they only won 4 games over the last 2 months, right? So with that being said, they finished with the 5th worst record, 24 and 58. And that enabled them to have the 5th best odds to get number 1 in the lottery. Now, the thing is, when we look at that, in order for them to lose their pick, 2 teams have to jump them in the lottery, right? Right now, the 76ers have a 42.1% chance of finishing with a top 4 selection. Now, in order to keep their pick, they have a 63.9% chance to keep their first round pick, right? So here we go. I'm going to break it all down to you. The Sixers' chance of getting the first pick is 10.5. The Sixers' chance of getting the second pick is 10.5. The Sixers' chance of getting the third pick is 10.6. The Sixers' chance of getting the 4th pick is 10.5. Get the 5th pick is only 2.2, which is kind of crazy to me because they got the 5th worst record, but you only got a 2% chance of keeping that pick. Now, to get the 6th pick is 19.8. It's either 19.7 or 19.8. Not 100% sure about that one. The 6th pick. The 7th pick, which they would lose, is 26.7, right? So there's a lot going on right now with that pick. and you look at it and you say to yourself, like, whoa, are they going to keep it? Now, the one thing that I will say, if history is any indicator, the 76ers are the luckiest team when it comes down to the draft lottery. Like 8 of their 18 picks that they had, which is the most that they had, and moved up, right? And 8 of them, they basically went up in the lottery, meaning like they're number 4, right? Number 5 right now, and they'll go up number 4, they'll go up number 3 in the lottery. That's what they did. And in 5 of those instances, they went up at least 3 different spots, which is good for the 76ers. So some may argue like, yeah, but look who they drafted. Yeah, I get all that. I get that. I really do. You know, they made some blunders in their draft selections, but they've had a lot of success. And to me, I'm telling you, this night is big because now we can finally see where they are. We can see if they have a legitimate chance at, if they get the first pick, they're going to take Cooper Flag, right? We'll see that. But then if they get number 2, it's like, okay, do you go Dylan Harper? Do you go Ace Bailey? If you get number 3, you're probably going to say, okay, they're going to go Ace Bailey. So we'll have a better idea. If they go number 4, I think it opens things up. Now, again, if they lose that pick, if it falls number 7, then you say to yourself, the Sixers might be in a world of trouble, y'all. World of hurt. What's going to happen? They got an old roster, banged up roster. A lot of concerns about Joel Embiid's left knee. He only played in 19 games this past year. Paul George played in 41 games, but his knee is banged up. You know, so is his groin. His hand was messed up. He looked old this season, looked like he lost a step, didn't have a burst. Now, that's when we have concerns, right? So we'll get a better idea between 7 and 7:30 tonight to see what's going to happen. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit excited about this because now you finally get to see, you know, where the 76ers are and things come into play. But it will be devastating if they lost that pick. It really would. But it wouldn't be surprising just because, in my opinion, a lot of the things that could have gone wrong went wrong this season, right? And this would just be another one of them. Like, it will be another thing that where you look at the 76ers and you say to yourself, like, okay, here we go. Here we go. But if they get it, I think it will be some fresh air. Now, if you ask me, now, even though I said it wouldn't be surprising, I do think that they'll get it. I do. You know, there's a 63.9% chance that I'm keeping the pick. Will it go up? I don't know. Like, meaning, will they go in the top 4? I don't know. But I do think that the 76ers will keep the pick. I do. If they don't get it, I think you got to do whatever you can to keep the players that you have, like Yabu, Quentin Grimes, you know, those guys. Yabu is going to be an unrestricted free agent. Quentin Grimes is a restricted free agent. But I think you got to go all in and do everything you can in your power to make sure these people stay. Because, you know, let's face it, Sixers roster was this year, but these are guys that can help. And then also we look at it and you say to yourself, man, can Joel Embiid come back? Can he be that guy? Can Paul George live up to the money? Are the Sixers somebody going to develop to help Tyrese Maxey out in regards to being the guy that you want him to be? So there are a lot of things that has to happen for this team to be successful. A lot of things. So, you know, we'll talk about that and more when we get right back. NBA fans, you know what time it is. Playoff season means big performances and even bigger rewards. DoorDash is bringing the heat with a slam dunk deal for Dash Pass members during the 2025 NBA playoffs. It's called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more points in the playoff game, Dash Pass members score a three-piece crispy tender combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more, use the code WINGSTOP50 at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, and totally free. Offer valid noon to midnight the day after the game. Terms apply, right? So here's the play. Sign up for Dash Pass to unlock this and more exclusive deals all season long. When any player scores 50 plus points in the playoff game, Dash Pass members can grab a free-piece crispy timber combo from Wingstop the next day with a $20 plus order and code WINGSTOP50. That's Dash Pass. Your door to more savings, more flavor, and more to ways to win. Terms apply. Do it today, people. I'm telling y'all, definitely do it today. So I'm looking at these playoffs, right? I'm looking at teams. I tell you what, there's one team that I think the 76ers could beat in the playoff series. Could have defeated in the playoff series. And that was the Lakers. Like, I looked at the Lakers. I felt like the Lakers were like totally overhyped. I mean, I'm watching them play. I'm like, man, how they get there? Like, I get it. I understand that Luka's an all NBA player. You know, I understand that LeBron is arguably one of the top 3 players in the league. I don't think he's better than Jordan. I mean, and when I'm talking about the league, I'm talking about all time. I don't think he's better than Jordan. That's just my opinion. And I know some people say he's the GOAT, LeBron's the GOAT. I think Jordan's the GOAT. Right. So that's what I'm saying. He's arguably one of the top 3 players to ever play in this game. But when you look at their roster, it wasn't all that. Now, but when I'm looking at some of these other teams and I'm watching the 76ers roster, and I'm even saying to myself, with a healthy Joel Embiid, with a healthy Paul George, and a healthy Tyrese Maxey, did the 76ers have the co-stars needed to help them win in the playoffs? And I don't think so. And I get it. When Daryl Morey comes out and says, we got to get younger, we got to do this, we got to do that, he's right. But I also think they got to get a little bit better too. Like, you need to get better players. Now, again, I do think that Justin Edwards is a guy that they found out and realized that he can develop and he can help them and he can be a valuable piece. I do think that Gershon Yabusele, when he's playing with the big 3, he's able to step out and knock down threes. He's able to take advantage of mismatches. He's able to benefit from being a 5th option on the floor to where people are going to, like, you know, not really focus on him, and he's going to get easy baskets. I do like Kelly Oubre in the dunker position, you know, playing quality D. You know, Jared McCain, I think his last 3 games, when you had to focus on him, when teams did a scouting report on him, he struggled. But for the most part, when he's on the floor with these other guys, he played well, right? So I think we'll see that. Quentin Grimes, I don't know what type of role he's going to have. I know that when you need him to score, he's going to score. I got to figure out what type of role he's going to have moving forward, but I think he's going to be a major upgrade. But when you take away those guys and other ones and you look at these other teams, you look at some of these teams and you say to yourself, these teams have guys who are their 7th, their 8th man who basically will start on the 76ers. Several of them, right? I mean, for instance, look at the The Indiana Pacers, right? They got a lot of guys who are coming off the bench that would be great candidates for the 76ers fifth starter. Same thing with the Denver Nuggets, right? The same thing with, the Knicks have a couple guys in it, right? So you look at that and you say to yourself, you're like, the Sixers got a way to go. They do. And especially when we look at it right now, we talk about the, heading into the season, the Sixers, in most people's eyes, my eyes, especially people in Philadelphia, they thought the Sixers were the third best team in the East. Now you look at it and you say to yourself, they're not better than Indiana. They're not better than Cleveland. And we were saying they were the third team in the East behind the Boston Celtics, the Knicks. So then you add Cleveland, you add Indiana, they slipped to 5, right? But are they better than Orlando? That's 6. Okay, well, what about Atlanta? Okay, that's 7. Miami like whipped them. Miami kept beating them. You think on paper they have a better roster, but so when you look at it, the 76ers are Toronto, Brooklyn, I think the Sixers could be better than them with all said and done. But then you look at Toronto, they're going to get a lottery pick. And also, they have some guys who nice young talent, right? So it just tells you this playoff just lets you know how far off the 76ers are. The Sixers got a long way to go, y'all. I mean, a long way. And as much as people want to be optimistic, right now they're hopeful that they'll get a lottery pick tonight. But let's face it, they have luck with getting the lottery pick. They do not have luck in making the right decision with the lottery pick. Now, again, Daryl Morey wasn't running the show during that, but history tells you that Sixers make the wrong move when it comes down to draft. But then we look at these other teams and you're saying to yourself, like, if everything doesn't go planned, the Sixers could be back here again next year. Seriously. I mean, they can. And then not only that, we look at it like Toronto has a young team. Brandon Ingram's coming. You're going to bring him to there next year. The Sixers are waiting on, or they're trying to see about Joel Embiid, and they're also banking on Paul George, right? And Daryl Morey saying all the right things, like, yeah, we're going to have a bunch of 25-year-olds around them. Well, in order to do that, you got to hope that Eric Gordon opts out. Or if he doesn't opt out, you got to trade him. Well, what about Andre Drummond? He's older than 30. You know what I mean? So, in other words, Kyle Lowry, I expect Kyle to come back, for a leadership standpoint. But then you look at some of these other guys and you say to yourself, can they make that jump? Or who else are you going to get, right? So there's a lot of questions when we talk about the 76ers, a lot of questions, a lot. And, we'll see. We'll see exactly what they'll do. But I'm here to tell you, watching these playoffs, aside from the Lakers, I don't see the Sixers beating them. Now, again, like the Memphis Grizzlies. But even the Memphis Grizzlies was a team that the Sixers couldn't mess with. So I don't see it. I mean, the 76ers are like off. Like, they got a lot of work to do comparable to several of these other teams. They got a lot of work to do. A lot. No cap. As the kids say, they got a lot of work to do. I want to talk to y'all about Monarch Money, right? Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just about a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you just stop managing your money and start building wealth. You know what? I like that, right? Just let me stop managing my money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, locked on NBA for half off your first year. Man, you can't beat that. Fast half off your first year. Everyone in my house always has something going on. Always. I'm telling you, man, my daughter stays busy, everything. I call this busy season. I don't have a lot of time to go grocery shopping or to cook healthy meals at home. That's why I use Hungry Root. And I'm telling you, it's really good. Hungry Root is like having your own personal shopper nutritionist wrapped into one. They take care of grocery shopping and meal planning, offering personalized recommendations based on your taste and your health goals. I love how Hungry Root tailors my orders based on what I like or didn't love. It gets smarter every time. With their high quality nutritionist foods, you can stick to your gut friendly, high protein diet without spending hours of planning. And that I'm telling you, that really helps out because people don't realize how long it takes to, look into things and all that other stuff. So the meals come together in 15 minutes or less, giving you more time for workouts, families, and hobbies. Take advantage of this exclusive deal. Get 40% off your first box, plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/lockedonnba and use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's hungryroot.com/lockedonnba, code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off and a lifetime of free items. I'm telling y'all, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So now we talked about the 76ers and not being up to par with these teams in the playoffs. We also talked about tonight being a special night in regards to the draft lottery. But I got to tell y'all, I'm loving these playoffs. I am. And it's weird. I go home, I get home and I turn on the TV and I'm saying to myself, who's playing tonight? I got to see this game. I love the fact that, and I'm going to be real with you, I'm the type of person I like rooting for underdogs, right? I love the fact that the Indiana Pacers are up 3-1 on the Cleveland Cavaliers because guess what? I like underdogs. I like upsets. I love the fact that the New York Knicks are up 2-1 on the Boston Celtics, right? I love the fact that Denver and OKC are going at it, right? You know what I mean? Just going at it. It's crazy, though, when you look at it, if not for that timeout late, OKC calling that timeout late in game one, you can argue that OKC would be up, 3-1, right? I feel bad for the Golden State Warriors, the fact that Steph Curry, was injured in game one. I feel like they're a different team. Well, I know they're a different team without him, right? We all know that. Like, heck, my mom who doesn't watch basketball knows that. Like, let's keep it 100. So it would be a different series in my opinion. Not saying that they would be up, but I think that it would be a different series with Steph Curry. We all know that. But it's crazy. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing. The one thing we're learning about these playoffs is that the regular season matters for a seeding purpose, but it doesn't matter outside of that. I mean, think about this. The Cleveland Cavaliers won 64 games. And unless they win 3 straight must-win games, they're going to get bumped in the second round. I mean, 64 games. You look at the Western Conference, the number 2 and the number 3 seeds were bumped in the first round. And then you look at the Boston Celtics. They're the number 2 seed in the East, the defending NBA champs. They're down 2-1. They were down 2-0. People in New York were chanting Knicks in 4, right? So to me, it tells you that yes, you want to get a good seed, but at the same time, that's what it's all about. If you got a good team, you can play. I mean, face it, the 76ers, what were they doing? At first, they were like, oh, we're trying to just get our guys healthy, because, Joel missed the first 9 games of the season. I believe Paul George missed, the first 5, 6. But then they were like, we're just trying to get them healthy. They were 2-12. They had the worst record in the NBA, and no one was panicking. Everyone was like, you know what? We're just trying to get them healthy, and then we get a nice seed and this and that. And then as they continued to struggle, it's like, you know what? We don't care. We're just trying to get a play-in tournament. And then it got to a point where they knew like stuff was going left, that they decided to tank, right? But if we're learning anything about this playoffs, it's like the seedings, the regular season, it only matters for seeding. Because, the Boston Celtics, let's face it, they were the favorites to win the championship, even though they had the second best record in the East. But they didn't have they were the third best record in the NBA, but they were always the favorite. I mean, you see them lose bad games. Well, what's the favorite? Always. Now, the Western Conference, when you look at that, it's kind of sort of like there were a lot of teams that, you win one, you lose one, or whatever. Like if one team would have lost the game, like if the Lakers would have lost 2 more games, they wouldn't have been the 3rd seed. I mean, we all know that. That's how tight it was, right? It was packed. But hey, I'm telling you, competitive. That's what it was. But I'm here to tell you, man, the regular season doesn't mean that. And plus, playoff basketball is different. Like when we look at Cleveland, no offense to Cleveland, but if there was one team that you would say would be down 3-1, it would have been the Cavs that had a successful season. And that's not a knock on the Cavs. But when you look at what they did last year and the major step that they took this year, and you see how young that team is, you're saying like in the beginning, when they got out and they were like by far the league's best team, I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm waiting for this thing to crash. I'm waiting for it to crash and burn. Okay, it didn't crash and burn. Okay. All right. Well, maybe after the All-Star break. But then what happened is you look at it, Donovan Mitchell is a candidate to be first-team All-NBA. Darius Garland will be, back to being an All-Star. Evan Mobley's an All-Star. Evan Mobley's the Defensive Player of the Year. So then people start like getting into the hype. Like, yeah, they won all these games, all these dudes, this and that. But right now they look like the 2015 Atlanta Hawks when they had all those guys on their team, but they still weren't better than the upper echelon squads in the league, right? So to me, seeding purposes, that's what it's all about. But that's it. Hey, y'all, I want to thank y'all for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with Kayla to break down the lottery. But I will see where the Sixers are. See if they can get this pick. If they can, we'll have a lot to talk about. But thank y'all. Have a blessed day. Peace. Deuces.